In the United States and many Western countries, the average healthy lifespan often ends around the age of 66. That means for many people, the years that follow are no longer about truly living, but about a gradual routine of medications, medical procedures, and increasing dependence over time. Not everyone says it out loud, but almost everyone feels it. The body moves more slowly, joints ache more often, memory isn't as sharp, and confidence in the most ordinary movements, standing up, walking, keeping balance, begins to waver. But if you look at Japan, you'll see a very different picture. There are more than 95,000 people over the age of 100. And what's remarkable isn't just the number, but how they live. Many still do their own grocery shopping, cook their own meals, take care of themselves, and most importantly, they remain clear-minded, steady, and independent. They don't just live longer, they live better. So what creates this difference? Is it a miracle? Special genetics? Or expensive supplements that are constantly advertised every day? The answer is no. The Japanese secret isn't found in anything flashy. It lies in very small, very ordinary things, so simple that many people once believed they were too basic to make a difference. Since 1928, Japan has maintained a nationwide morning movement routine. Not intense exercise, not gym workouts, just gentle, intentional movements practiced daily by children, adults, and older people alike. No equipment, no sweating, just a few minutes. Yet those few minutes, repeated consistently over many years, have quietly built strength, balance, and movement confidence. Not to extend life at all costs, but to live each year more fully. If you're over 50 and starting to clearly feel that your body isn't the same as before, your legs feel weaker, your reactions slower, or you feel less confident when moving, stay with me. In this live Healthy Over 50 video, you'll discover the small movements the Japanese have used for nearly a century to age with strength, stability, and mental clarity, without medication, without a gym, and without pushing beyond your limits. And we'll begin with the most important foundation of all, the legs. If there were one movement considered most important for people over 50 in Japan, it would almost always be shikadachi, the sumo stance. This is not a modern exercise. Shikadachi has existed for over 1,500 years, used by sumo wrestlers and Japanese warriors not to look strong, but to remain grounded, resilient, and impossible to knock down. What's fascinating is that this stance is exceptionally well suited for older adults. Shikadachi builds exactly the muscles we rely on every day, often without realizing it until they weaken: the quadriceps, glutes, and inner thighs. These are independence muscles. They help you stand up from a chair, climb stairs, maintain balance while walking, and move with confidence in everyday life. When these muscles are strong, you move like someone much younger. When they weaken, even simple tasks can become difficult or frightening. What makes shikadachi special is how it affects the body. Instead of placing excessive stress on the knees like many conventional squats, the wide stance distributes force more evenly, reduces joint strain, and opens the hips, a range many people over 50 have lost after decades of sitting. The technique is simple and safe. Stand with your feet wider than shoulder width, toes slightly turned outward. Slowly lower your hips as if sitting down between your legs rather than backward. Keep your back naturally upright and your chest gently open. If needed, rest your hands on your thighs or stand near a chair for support. At first, holding the position for just 20 to 30 seconds is enough. If your legs shake slightly, that's not weakness. It's a sign that muscles long neglected are waking up. Over time, as your body adapts, you can increase to 1 minute, then 2. You'll begin to feel a deep, internal strength, very different from straining or forcing effort. Biomechanical studies show that shikadachi activates more leg muscle groups than a standard squat, while placing less stress on the joints. In other words, stronger, yet safer. For the Japanese, shikadachi isn't just an exercise. It's a reminder that the body must be built from the ground up. And the root of independence in later life is having legs strong enough to support you every single day. Once that foundation is awakened, it's time to move to another equally important element: one that quietly determines whether you fall or stay upright. In Part 3, we'll explore Niko Ashidachi, the cat stance, a movement that awakens the body's deep balance system. After the legs begin to regain strength through shikadachi, there's another factor just as important that many people over 50 overlook: balance. Most falls in older adults don't happen because of a lack of strength, but because of a brief loss of control, a misstep, uneven ground, a slightly rushed turn. In an instant, the body can't respond in time. The Japanese understood this long ago. That's why they developed a unique stance to train deep balance, called Niko Ashidachi, or cat stance. This posture is inspired by how a cat moves. Before stepping or jumping, a cat lightly touches the ground to test the surface. The movement looks soft, but beneath it is a refined control system linking the feet, ankles, hips, and brain. In a cat stance, most of your weight rests on the back leg. The front foot lightly touches the ground with the toes or ball of the foot, like a probing limb. Both knees are slightly bent, hips stay square, and the torso remains upright without stiffness. At first, it may feel unfamiliar. You might wobble slightly, but that wobble is a good sign. It means the deep stabilizing muscles in the ankles, feet, hips, and core are beginning to reactivate after years of dormancy. These are the muscles that help you maintain balance on uneven ground, avoid slipping when turning, and react quickly when stability is challenged. The Japanese practice the cat stance very slowly. No rushing, no straining. Simply hold the position for 20 to 30 seconds on each side, near a wall or chair for safety. As you grow comfortable, you can add subtle movements like shifting weight slightly or slowly moving your arms. What's remarkable is that cat stance doesn't only train the body, it trains the brain. Each moment of balance requires the brain to process hundreds of signals from the feet, joints, and inner ear. This is how mental sharpness and reflexes are preserved with age. For the Japanese, Niko Ashidachi isn't just a martial stance. It's a quiet way to protect themselves from falls that could change their lives. When you can stay steady in small moments, you gain confidence in all larger movements. And once balance is awakened, it's time to bring the body closer to the ground, where an ancient sitting posture helps realign posture and the spine from the foundation. In Part 4, we'll explore CHIA, proper sitting, the silent foundation of healthy posture and movement after 50. After the body becomes steadier through the sumo stance and cat stance, it's time to bring it closer to the ground, not to test flexibility, but to return the spine to the natural position it has lost over the years. The Japanese call this posture CHIA, which means proper sitting. For centuries, CHIA was how people in Japan sat to eat, talk, drink tea, and meditate. It wasn't exercise, it was simply daily life. Yet this habit helped keep their posture upright, compact, and stable even in old age. After 50, many people begin to lean forward, round their shoulders, and hunch their upper backs. Not because they're weak, but because the hip flexors and front thigh muscles shorten after decades of sitting in chairs. When these muscles pull the spine forward, no back brace can truly fix the problem. CHIA addresses this gently. When you kneel and sit back on your heels, the hip flexors and quadriceps are naturally stretched. At the same time, the deep core and spinal stabilizers engage to keep the torso upright, without force. This is something a chair sitting can never do. If you feel tension in the knees or ankles, that's completely normal. The Japanese don't force the body. They place a cushion or small pillow between the hips and heels to reduce pressure. A small adjustment like this makes the posture safe and comfortable. At first, sitting for 30 seconds to 1 minute is enough. As your body adapts, you can gradually increase to a few minutes a day. You can sit in CHIA while watching TV, reading, or simply giving your back a break. What's special about CHIA is that its benefits don't appear instantly. They emerge quietly. Over time, you may notice that you sit upright without effort, stand up more easily, and walk with less lower back fatigue. There's no intense movement, no heavy breathing, yet your spine is being gently reminded how to align itself naturally. And once posture begins to realign, we can go one step deeper, not just into the body, but into the nervous system itself. In part 5, we turn to Zazen, seated meditation, where strength, calmness, and recovery come together. Once posture has been realigned through CHIA, the body naturally begins to stand taller without force. But there is still one crucial element that is often overlooked in exercise programs for people over 50, the nervous system. Many people believe that aches, fatigue, or poor sleep are simply problems of muscles and joints. In reality, after years of stress, worry, and pressure, the nervous system often becomes stuck in a prolonged state of alert. The body never truly rests, even when you lie down. The Japanese have a very simple way of addressing this. They call it Zazen, seated meditation. Zazen is not about forcing thoughts away or sitting perfectly for a long time. From a physical perspective, Zazen is a very subtle isometric posture. When you sit with a naturally upright spine, the pelvis gently lifted, shoulders relaxed, and the head lightly suspended, as if by an invisible thread, the deep core muscles quietly engage to keep you stable. These muscles, especially the transverse abdominis and the spinal stabilizers, form a protective barrier for the lower back and help maintain balance during movement. But what matters even more happens inside. When you sit still and breathe slowly, Zazen activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for rest, recovery, and regeneration. This is the state in which the body can lower heart rate, reduce stress hormones, and begin repairing the wear and tear accumulated over the years. With just 5 to 10 minutes a day, many people notice deeper sleep, a calmer mind, and less physical discomfort. Not because they are tolerating pain better, but because the body is finally allowed to truly relax. Zazen does not demand perfection. You don't need to sit cross-legged beautifully. A small cushion to slightly elevate the hips, a gently upright spine, hands resting softly on the thighs, and natural breathing are enough. If thoughts arise, let them come and go. The body is still working, even when you are not trying. For the Japanese, Zazen is not something mystical. It is simply a way of telling the body, now it is safe. And when the nervous system feels safe, all other movements become more effective and sustainable. Once the inside is calm, it's time to bring that strength outward into stable, grounded movements that build confidence in everyday life. In part 6, we explore Kibadachi, the horse stance, a movement that stabilizes the hips and knees and protects you from the most dangerous falls after age 5. When inner calm has been established through Zazen, it's time to express that strength outward, not by forcing effort, but by standing steady in ordinary situations, stepping off a curb, turning in the kitchen, or getting out of bed in the morning. The Japanese do this through a stance called Kibadachi, the horse stance. Kibadachi was used by samurai and karate practitioners to build lateral stability, the ability to resist being knocked over by force from the side. For people over 50, this same lateral stability becomes the most important shield against dangerous falls. Many falls don't happen while walking straight ahead. They happen when changing direction, reaching for something, stepping sideways, or slipping slightly on a wet floor. Kibadachi trains exactly the muscles responsible for preventing this: the thighs, glutes, adductors, and deep stabilizers of the hips and knees. The setup for Kibadachi is clear and safe. Stand with your feet slightly wider than shoulder width, toes pointing forward. Slowly lower your hips as if sitting on an invisible chair. Keep your back naturally upright. Gently engage the abdomen and relax the shoulders. Arms can hang by your sides or rest lightly on your thighs. At first, holding the position for 20 to 30 seconds is enough. Repeating it 2 to 3 times is ideal. The warm, burning sensation in the thighs and hips is not a bad sign. It means the joint-protecting muscles are being reactivated. Over time, you can increase the hold to 1 minute, then 2 minutes. As Kibadachi becomes familiar, you'll notice a subtle but important change. Your steps feel more stable. You feel more confident standing, turning, and moving on uneven surfaces. Research on proprioception shows that this stance improves the body's ability to sense its position in space, an ability that naturally declines with age if not trained. When this awareness is restored, the risk of falls decreases significantly. For the Japanese, kibidachi is not an endurance challenge. It's a quiet way of training stability, something that protects them every day without conscious effort. Once the hips and knees are stable, it's time to test the entire system: strength, balance, circulation, and endurance. In Part 7, we introduce wall squat, the invisible chair, the most honest test of the body after age 50. After building strength with shikidachi, awakening balance with cat stance, realigning posture through CHIA, calming the nervous system with zazen, and stabilizing the hips and knees with kibidachi, it's time to assess the whole system. The Japanese have a very straightforward way to do this, simple and unadorned: the wall squat, also known as the invisible chair. This is not a traditional movement, but it is widely used by physical therapists and rehabilitation specialists in Japan, especially for middle-aged and older adults. The reason is simple: the wall squat shows you where your body truly is, not where you think it is. To perform it, stand with your back against a wall. Step your feet slightly forward, about hip-width apart. Slowly slide your back down the wall until your knees are bent at about 90 degrees, as if sitting on a chair that doesn't exist. Keep your back flat against the wall, feet firmly on the floor, knees aligned with your ankles. Then hold the position. For many people, 30 seconds is enough at first, and that's completely normal. The wall squat activates not only the thighs and glutes, but also the deep core, circulation, and the endurance-oriented muscle fibers that allow you to stand longer, walk farther, and fatigue less quickly. What's special is that wall squats activate slow-twitch muscle fibers, the ones that decline fastest after age 50 if not used. As these fibers strengthen, you'll notice that you can stand longer without knee pain, walk with less fatigue, and feel strength returning to your legs. Over time, you can gradually increase the hold to 1 minute, then 2 minutes. There's no rush. Each additional few seconds is a signal that your body is adapting and growing stronger. Studies also show that wall squats help improve blood circulation in the legs and support bone density, key factors in preventing osteoporosis and fractures later in life. This isn't just an exercise, it's a test of physical resilience. And the best part is, no gym, no weights, no machines. Just a wall and patience with yourself. The wall squat tells the truth, but in a fair way. If today you can hold for 30 seconds, and a month later you can hold for 2 minutes, your body is clearly saying, "I am getting stronger." When you can sit confidently in this invisible chair, you will stand much more confidently in real life. In Part 8, we arrive at the final small, but critically important, movements, where circulation, breathing, and recovery come together to complete the journey. After everything you've just heard, one essential truth must be said: strength means nothing if the body cannot recover. Balance cannot last if blood does not circulate. And all movement becomes meaningless if the nervous system remains in constant tension. The Japanese understand this deeply. That's why they end their day with the smallest movements, yet the most important ones. The first is activating the ankles and the soleus muscle, the deep calf muscle often called the body's second heart. This muscle pumps blood from the legs back to the heart, working against gravity every time you stand or walk. Many people over 50 walk regularly, yet still experience heavy legs, cold feet, early fatigue, or mild swelling by the end of the day. Not because they don't move enough, but because this muscle has been neglected for too long. The Japanese don't call this exercise. They simply rise onto their toes and slowly lower their heels while brushing their teeth, washing dishes, or waiting for water to boil. Each lift and slow descent pushes blood upward. Each repetition gently rejuvenates the legs. But there is one final, even more subtle piece. Hara breathing, Japanese-style belly breathing. In Japanese culture, hara is more than the abdomen. It is the center of vitality. When the breath moves down into the hara, the brain receives a signal that the body is safe. And when the brain feels safe, true repair and recovery begin. Breathe slowly and deeply into the belly. Exhale longer than you inhale. No forcing, no excessive control. Just allow the body to slow down. With just a few minutes a day, this breathing can help you sleep more deeply, stabilize your heart rate, clear mental fog, and recover more effectively from all the movements you've practiced. This is why many centenarians in Japan don't end their day with medication or devices. They end it with a slow breath. The 8 movements you've just learned are not a workout program. They are not a trend, and they are not a battle against aging. They are how the Japanese live with aging, through respect, patience, and deep understanding of their own bodies. You don't need to do everything today. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. One small movement, 1 minute a day, one kind decision for your body. Aging is not something we must endure. It is a journey we can walk with greater strength, calm, and independence. This is Live Healthy Over 50, and your future begins with the very next small movement.